here in Brea. Be careful about where you go with what you say, because you know what? The people in Brea are up to here with your crap. Okay? Thanks. One last thing. Why would we have a special meeting when one of the council people who has worked on Tuesdays all of his life, you knew couldn't be in attendance? That's real planning, folks.
It's too bad it's not the truth.
Okay.
Next. Seeing none other proposed matters from the audience, I'll bring it back to some responses from our city attorney.
Okay, well, let me try to explain why there's a meeting today. There's a meeting today which I recommended probably last Thursday or Friday, and the reason for that is, as the city clerk and I were trying to go through the elections code in a position where, and found that the elections code actually says the city council, the body, is going to be, hi Mr. Vodhan, I'm glad to be taped by you.
It's allowed in a public proceeding.
It's allowed. It's a little invasive, but it's allowed. In any event, we
just filming over my shoulder.
That's okay. We discovered that since the city council, I thought through the fact the city council is responding, and the city council is trying to prepare arguments for ballot material, including an opposition argument, possibly a rebuttal argument if you decide to do so, that there's only two ways to do that, and one hadn't been done. One way to do that would have been to delegate that responsibility to a subcommittee or one council member of some nature to go ahead and perform that task. But if the council retained that task for itself, it's a Brown Act issue. Doesn't the council have to approve the actual arguments at an open meeting? And I decided that city council shouldn't go into some area where there could possibly be a Brown Act violation. And so, since these statements are due at 5:30 p.m. tonight, according to the schedule adopted by the council, I thought the prudent thing would be to call a council meeting, so the council could consider one of two things, essentially what was recommended, which is you try to create, have the mayor pro tem create a document the full council could approve, or delegate the responsibility to prepare the final arguments and submit them to the city clerk, to either the mayor pro tem or another committee. So I'm the reason why we had to have this meeting, because we went through the schedule and discovered this potential Brown Act issue, which I have never heard of being brought in a lawsuit, brought to anyone's attention in a lawsuit. The county registrar recorder had never confronted this issue. So we're trying to confront this issue in a way which complies with the Brown Act. That's the simple reason we're having this meeting. So I don't know if you want other responses. Mr. Von Handel's got a long list of complaints, but basically, you know, arguments that are submitted are entitled to state opinions. They don't have to be, and a lot of what, I don't say everything he said in reading his statement. I don't know, that statement he read is that he was referring to is going to be the one you adopt. But opinions are opinions, and they differ depending on which person you're talking to, so you're allowed to express opinions. If there's a factual inaccuracy, it has to be a flat statement of fact that's inaccurate. Anyway, I don't know, I don't want to go spend a lot of your time answering that. I think the question before the council now, both as to the initial arguments against the petition, against the measures, the two measures, and the rebuttal arguments, are to be both all delegated to some subcommittee the council chooses, or whether you want to vote on some draft that's put before you here. That's the question.
Okay. I still have a concern that there was an internal document that, as Mr. Von Handel said, came from me, that I gave to 4 other people. And somehow that internal document got out to other people. And that concerns me a great deal. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to move on to the discussion items. That we have 2 items basically before us. One is the rebuttal arguments authorizing, I guess, the mayor pro tem to write the rebuttal arguments. And then the item that we are meeting here today was a consideration of the arguments in opposition. And I would, and from what I'm hearing from you, that we could basically do both items that same way, that the mayor and mayor pro tem write them and submit them.
In lieu of sitting here with drafts
Right.
being discussed and potentially argued back and forth
Right.
with the proponent of the ballot measure sitting in the room. But I can't tell the council to delegate the council's discretion.
So let's take them one at a time. Let's take the one we talked about earlier, the rebuttal arguments, authorizing the mayor and mayor pro tem to write those arguments and submit them.
I'll make a motion
That motion is?
to appoint the subcommittee of the mayor and mayor pro tem to write the opposition arguments opposing the two initiatives.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it,
But can I clarify that motion? Is that on the rebuttal or on the initial
No,
opposition?
we're talking about the rebuttal first.
Okay.
I'm taking it kind of in reverse.
Oh, you're taking them in reverse. Okay.
I'm
You can
taking
do it
it,
any order you wish,
Yeah.
guys.
The mayor
I'm
wants,
just getting confused.
this is the one you spoke of earlier.
Yeah.
The rebuttal.
The rebuttal, I'm fine.
So we have a motion that the mayor and mayor pro tem write rebuttal arguments.
And submit to the city.
Yeah, I would like to know that if the mayor and mayor pro tem write the rebuttal argument, whose signature are on the rebuttal argument?
Well, the signature is going to be, for sure, the city council of the city of Brea, by the mayor, attest city clerk, and that's pretty much, I think, what is legally required because it's coming from the body, the council that's a body, rather than individual council.
So if I, as an individual council member, may oppose our opposition statements, then I should say, oh, no.
Well, if you're delegating writing the statement to two people.
I have no problem writing them delegating, if they want to write rebuttals, that's fine. But if it says the city council approves that, that means that I, Roy Moore, as a member of the city council, approves their words, and I'm not so sure I will. Well, I'm not so sure, I'm not for, in the current form, I would not agree for the two opposition statements that I read. So far, I would not sign them in those formats.
Well, let's go back.
So I want to know how I'm,
Well, the motion is to delegate. If you delegate, if the council delegates it, you're not writing it, but the council delegated the authority, so it can be written by this committee.
So it's written by the committee,
Right.
and if
And-
it gets published in the pamphlet, it doesn't list my name as.
All it has to, I'll say this again, it just has to be signed by the city council, by mayor. I'm gonna ask the city clerk to attest it. It has to be signed by somebody for the county.
For the city council, and that includes.
For the city council.
Yeah,
If the city council, Roy, if you delegate the authority, these guys are gonna file an argument that they're comfortable with. They're not gonna sit here and get 5 council members to be comfortable.
Jim, this would be the same way, I know Measure N has been brought up in example. When Claire wrote the opposition, she did it on behalf of the committee of the Hillside, and I'm sure not every single person, I mean, I don't know, but is that kind of what we're saying here? I mean, she wrote it on behalf of the committee, so
Well,
we're
okay.
writing it on behalf of the council.
I'm just telling Roy, I don't know how you state your position, but if the council delegates the authority, the final words that get in the ballot materials are not, you will not gonna have input to the final words. When you go back to the original argument in opposition, if the council, instead of adopting a draft that was circulated that people got a hold of, the council wants to delegate that to the same committee, it's the same thing. You're not going to be, have control of or responsibility for personally what's in that draft, except that you delegated the authority. I don't know how to make that I'm just trying to be plain in what I say, I'm not trying to make it palatable and unpalatable to you.
So let me state what I think you said, you said that it could say that, but I'm not
You're giving us authority to write it, and it's
Right.
gonna come from the city
Right.
council.
for the city council,
Right.
but not for Roy.
Which is, by the way it's always been done, except here.
The problem is, I've never
We
paid
forgot,
any
well, no,
attention to
but
any of this in the past.
If we,
at all.
believe me, if we could go redo time a little bit here, we would have put that in the original resolution, the delegation, but it didn't happen, so it's what it is.
Okay, so I have a motion, and
I'll second, but one last question. Has there been a time where we've done this in the past, where the mayor has, or a group have been delegated with that responsibility? And
You know what, I can't remember in Brea, I don't know how many initiatives there were, I remember Measure N, and the council decided not to take part in the arguments, and just left it to the citizens groups on both sides of it to file the arguments, and I'm not remembering the last time there was one put on by initiative, I can't remember, it could have been all the way back to back in the early 80s, there was one on elected city treasurer, or non-elected city treasurer, that was actually, I think, put on by initiative, I'm not even sure, but I can tell you, we've never confronted in Brea, or any other place I've been, to tell you the truth, this issue of how to get a council argument drafted representing the full city council into the ballot materials. It's a really odd pickup. Actually, city clerk picked up the language. So either it gets delegated or.
okay, so I have a motion and a second to delegate the rebuttal arguments to the mayor and mayor pro tem. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
And have the record show that one abstention and 3 ayes. Okay, then I'll move it down to the same question for arguments in opposition. Allowing the mayor and the mayor pro tem to write those.
I'll make a motion to appoint the subcommittee of the mayor and the mayor pro tem to write the opposition argument to these both initiatives.
Do I have a second on that one?
I'll second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Basically, it's the same as the rebuttal arguments. No discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Abstain.
Abstentions? So the same for that. Okay, so thank you very much for attending today. We are adjourned.